and gentlemen, it is time once again for the Ride Warrior Choice Awards and the Thrilling 32. Andy, we say this every year. It is our favorite time of year, and we've already gotten the votes coming in. Voting opened back earlier this month at the beginning of November, but we always like to do a video every year as we get into the Thanksgiving, Christmas, winter holiday season of sorts, since people are home. A lot of people aren't working. Most of you should be home anyways right now, but you know, it's that time for you to download your ballot from thrilling32.com and vote in this year's Ride Warrior Choice Awards. Of course, it always has our steel and wood coaster rankings, and we always have the general awards too, which this year, Andy, have kind of been turned on their heads because we haven't had a normal theme park season. So we kind of did some different things as far as the general awards this year. We still have like your favorite park, most anticipated new ride, which many of which were on the ballot last year for most anticipated new ride. But we've got some new ones. You know, Velocicoaster is in play now, which I think is going to be a contender for winning this one. But we've got some more special categories that are not so year sensitive this year, since it was very bit of an odd year.
Well, you know, and there was some speculation as to whether or not we would even do a poll, but ultimately, other polls canceled this year. Whatever. The Thrilling 32 Ride Warrior Choice Awards still here. You know why? Because Danny Miller, when I rank my coasters, and I'm going to rank 75 coasters here, there are many on that list that I haven't ridden for years upon years. There are many.
So why should it change? Why
should my rankings change just because I didn't get into a park this year and ride a whole bunch of new stuff? The rankings are interesting regardless. There will be people. You got to parks, you rode a couple of new rides. A lot of people got to Kings Island to ride Orion. A lot of people got to Hershey to ride Candemonium. The wood side might be a little stagnant, but you know what? With the wood side, it's always a battle between
the wood side is always extremely close anyways.
Exactly. So, and who knows? This might be the last year you can even vote for Lightning Rock.
Well, that's the other thing, right? There are people who went to a lot of parks. I mean, not every park open, but there are a lot of parks that did open. Dollywood,
I don't want to comment on those people.
Dollywood, Holiday World, I mean, those parks did open. So it's possible that people did get to ride Lightning Rod or Voyage for the first time this year. We actually know a few people who rode both of those rides for the first time this year. So I think...
And Hollywood Nights was packed with people, according to all.
It was. We heard that Hollywood Nights was the busiest it's ever been. So it stands to reason that there may be a whole lot of new Voyage riders this year, and we don't know what they thought of the Voyage. If they thought that it wasn't the best ride in the world, they're wrong. but no, seriously. I mean, Cedar Point did open. Lots of people might have ridden Steel Vengeance for the first time. A lot of the parks in Europe were open for a good chunk of the season. So we do have European voters that did go to those parks. I mean, our friend Alex Baker from the UK, he went on a big 2-week road trip throughout many of the European parks that he was sort of keeping us up to date with. And, he went to a lot of new parks and rode a lot of new rides. So, I mean, just because a lot of the parks didn't open for a full season, or a lot of new rides that were supposed to open this year didn't open, does not mean that we aren't going to see differences and changes in the rankings, because people still went to parks. People still rode new rides. There were a couple of new rides for 2020 that did open, but don't underestimate the fact that just because only a few new rides open this year, that a lot of people didn't get to ride new to them rides that are changing their coaster counts, changing their rankings, all sorts of things like that. I mean, look at the year of 2017, where we really only had Mystic Timbers and Mind Blow or Invader. We only had a couple of rides open in 2017 in the States here.
Different rides on the list.
Yes, I mean, we had Lightning Rod win the wood coaster thing the year before, and then Voyage won in 2017. And then in 2016, we had Expedition G-Force win the steel side, and then Fury 325 came back and won the steel side in 2017. So in 2017, where we had very few new rides open, at least in the United States, we saw 2 new winners in the poll, and the rankings changed quite a bit. So don't underestimate that. So that's why we're doing this poll again. And of course, I feel like having the Thrilling 32 bracket challenge to do this year is going to be an added, just a little bit extra, a happy thing to get us through the winter, considering that we
ended up being the only March Madness bracket tournament last year. So we
really
were the team in town.
That's right. We really were.
And this year too.
We may be again this year. So it's definitely something. And you and I haven't finalized this yet, but we are talking about. We were talking about a slight format change to the Thrilling 32 for next year. For the 10th anniversary, because this is the 9th year that we'll be doing it, because we started in 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, the 2020 here. The 2020 season will be the 9th year. So we talked about it for the next year for the 10th anniversary, but given COVID and how that affected all the parks, it may be worthwhile for us to implement this format change a year earlier. Yeah. So the Thrilling 32 may look completely different this year, and how it's, and you're probably thinking about how that's going to work. But you'll just have to wait a little bit longer for that. So, Andy,
Danny, I have a question here. I have a question. So assuming, because we're going to talk about, submitting your ballot now at some point. But before we get into that, if a person has not changed, like my rankings have not changed at all this year.
Right.
Can I just send you an email that says, or maybe on the Google form, just say, keep my ballot from last year? Would that make
yes? So here's how we can do this to accommodate you folks who either didn't go to any parks, didn't change your rankings, didn't ride any new rides. Here's what I'll ask you to do. The general awards categories are still different. Yeah. So we still want you to download the ballot. However, if your coaster rankings did not change, your coaster counts did not change, here's what you can do. Fill out the general awards tab like you normally would, and when you email that to voting@coaster-net.com, I think is what it is. I think that eventually goes to my inbox, Danny Miller at coaster-net.com. But voting@coaster-net.com, the instructions are there on the first page of what to do. When you do that, if your coaster rankings and coaster count did not change, just put that in your email, because I read all the emails and I reply to everyone, thanking them and confirming that I got it. Put it in your email that your steel and wood coaster counts and rankings did not change from last year, and you want to use the rankings from last year. And I can pull your ballot from last year and just put your rankings from last year into this year's algorithm. That's fine. If your rankings did not change, say you wrote a couple of small kiddie coasters, but they're not in your top 75, or you're not ranking them, you can tell me to use your rankings from last year. Just give me your updated count, because that does affect the algorithm if your coaster count does change slightly.
And so, Danny, I don't know if I can confirm nor deny this, but I heard you were approached by an outside company to help you with voting. I heard that company is called Dominion Voting Systems. Are you using Dominion this year for the Thrilling 32?
King's Dominion did not open, so I'm going to say no. King's Dominion's actually doing a winter event, I believe. But yes, that's so yes. Voting, timely voting humor here on COASTER-net. So if you want to, like I said, if your coaster count and coaster rankings did not change, and you just wish to use your rankings from last year, save some time so you don't have to do the drop downs. You can do that. Still download the ballot, fill out the general awards, and then in your email when you send your ballot in, make that be known. Another thing you can do if your rankings did change, or if you rode new rides, and we said this last year, you can copy and paste your dependent drop-down list on the ranking tabs. You can copy and paste those into the new ballot. Because it's drawing from the same database. I've just updated the database with new rides and some rides that we're missing. So you can do that, and that should work. But you need to make sure that you copy and paste the park and ride names together, and they need to be in the right columns and everything. Otherwise, it's going to break. So you can copy and paste your rankings from last year and then sort of use cut and paste. Don't use cut and paste. I think that might remove the drop-down functionality. But you can do copy and paste and move your things around to save some time. If you have your ballot from last year. If you don't have your ballot from last year, let me know and I can maybe send it to you so that you can use it as copy and paste. So that is a good time saver there. So we're talking about these ballots and everything. Here's what you do to get your ballot. Go to thrilling32.com. And that is the nice Thrilling 32 website that we've had over the last few years. And Andy has made that much nicer looking over the past several months. It's much better looking. The background is a lot nicer. As soon as you go to thrilling32.com, you'll see the Thrilling 32 logo and you'll see Vote Now. If you click on Vote Now, it will download the Microsoft Excel file. It will be called RWCA_ballot_2020_XXX. When you mail in your ballot, replace the XXX with your initials, please. And Andy, what do people do if they do not have Microsoft Excel?
Well, yeah. So you have to use either Excel or you have to get Open Office. If you try to use Google Sheets, it will not work. It will not work at all. If you try to use, really old versions of Excel, it might not work either. And so it has to be like I have Office 2010 and it works fine on mine. So if you have an Excel program from the last 10 years, it should work perfectly.
If you have Office 2000 that was released in 1999, it's not going to work. But here's why, right? So when you do the coaster rankings, if you pick a drop down, you pick the park name, and then the ride names are based off of what the park name is. So when you do Kings Island Steel, all the steel coasters on Kings Island show up on the ride drop down on the steel tab. And that's all pulling from a database. And those older versions of Excel don't have that database functionality. And this is why the copy and paste from older ballots will work, because they're all pulling from the same database. Rides aren't going away. I add to that database. I never take away from that database. So even the rides that have been defunct in the last year or two, like Vortex, will still be in the Kings Island list because it was there when I created the database that it pulls from. So Google Sheets does not have that database dependent drop-down functionality, and some of those older versions of Excel do not. OpenOffice does, so OpenOffice will work. Microsoft Excel obviously will work. That's the type that it was. That's the program that it was built in, and that helps us calculate the ballots because we get hundreds and hundreds of these ballots every year. It became too tedious for me to manually calculate the results every year. It was just hours and hours on end every night, just keeping up. So I've written a program over the last couple of years that calculates it. But in order for that program to work, we need spelling to be correct, which is why we can't do the Google form anymore because people misspell rides. We can't have spaces. So, we need everything to be very structured for that to work properly. And this has worked very well the last couple of years. So, there is a way to save times. I know the drop downs isn't the easiest and the quickest thing to do, but you can use your previous year's ballots to help save some time. So certainly do that. If you have any questions or problems with that, send me an email, send me a Facebook message, whatever. Let us know and we'll help you get situated with that.
Yeah, and I always go back, and like this year, obviously not much is changing for me. I didn't really go anywhere. So
you did ride one roller coaster though.
Just one, the best in the world, right there. Pipe Scream, the best coaster on the Gemini Midway. So there you go. There you go. Also, we'll be appearing in my Thrilling 32. And Danny, I don't know if I told you this. I don't even know where it went, to be honest with you. I obtained a Pipe Scream T-shirt as well when I was at the park. So, so I can represent with my hat and well, not this hat, but this is my other favorite coasters, the loopers, but I can represent with my T-shirt for the Pipe Screams. So as always, folks, well, also one other announcement here, that if you go to the Coasternet store right now, we do have a very special deal going on, that as you're filling out your Thrilling 32 Ride Warrior Choice Award ballot, you can also do some Christmas shopping. And we have a mystery box of our Coasternet t-shirts and stuff that we have that you can get 2 t-shirts and one of our very, 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 very exclusive logo magnets that we can't even show you here. That they're only available on Patreon at our highest levels of support. So if you wanted to, you could go buy that mystery box and get one of those exclusive logo magnets. So those are on sale right now in the Coasternet shop. And then also one other plug, Danny, if you are having trouble with these ballots and how to do this, a great place to go would be to the Coasternet Discord. And the Coasternet Discord is a community of fellow coaster riders that are well-versed in the Thrilling 32 and Ride Warrior Choice Awards. And there will be multiple people there that can help you out with some troubleshooting and some issues that you might have, with the ballot. So just go to Discord, type in Ride Warrior Discord, and that should take you. Let me just double check that this actually works because I've been in it so long.
Yeah, Andy, here, I since we can't show it, but here's a little teaser for what one of the magnets looks like. It's the backside. This is the backside of water here. If you
look at that. That looks fantastic, doesn't it?
What could that be, Andy?
Yeah, but who knows, right?
What could that be?
So go to Discord and then look up the Ride Warrior Discord. And that is ours. You should see the Coasternet logo in the bubble as well. That's how you will identify that you are in the right place. And there will be multiple people there that can assist you in filling out your ballot and helping you through that process. So
yep, they're good resource, good folks in there. And again, if you have any big issues, can't download the ballot or whatever, send us a message, send me a message, send me an email. We've had a couple people ask.
Just don't bother me.
Well, yeah, that's right. And don't try and use Microsoft Office from 1999. It's not going to work on Windows 95. I don't think computers were even that smart back then. No. But so that's the deal. Again, when does voting close, Andy? When can people do this?
Oh my goodness.
We're going to do, we always do it right after New Year's to give people time over the holidays as well. So Monday, January 4th, we will no longer be accepting ballots at that point. I will be running the algorithm on Monday the 4th. So get your ballot in by Sunday, January 3rd. Basically sometime that day, Eastern time. Don't send it to me at midnight. Don't wait until 11:59. We're not children here. If you need to do it that weekend after New Year's, you're recovering from your drunk New Year's Eve on Thursday night in your own home with less than 10 people, then fine. Take a few days and do it on Saturday or Sunday. But get them into me by Sunday, January the 3rd. And let your friends know. Anyone can vote. There's no restriction on who can vote here. We've had 400 or 500 voters in past years before. We've had some insane amount of voters that have very, very well traveled, more traveled than even you or me. We've had people with over 1,000 coasters to their credit count voting before. So we've had people with lots of coasters, no coasters, people who have been everywhere, people who have only been to Holiday World, Kentucky Kingdom, and Ohio. We've had everyone can vote. Everyone's vote influences the results here. And we had record voters in the general election this year, Andy. So hopefully we got record voters.
I expect the voting to be true as well for this. Especially
you don't have to stand in a line. You do have to mail it in of sorts. There's no voter fraud here, though.
You have to be alive. Can we accept posthumous votes here?
If you send your ballot in before you shit the bed, yes, we will count your ballot.
And really, why? Well, even if you're dead, why should your opinion not count anymore, right? Like,
yeah, I'm all about giving dead people right. That's fine. We're getting off the tracks a little bit here, but yes, we're excited. Ride Warrior Choice Awards, Thrilling 32. It is award season. So that's going to be very, very exciting. And you, for the general awards, you may have to go back to last year's Thrilling 32 to help you answer a few of those questions. See, we've done some Thrilling 32 centric things this year, since there's not a whole lot of park and ride awards to give out this year. So you hopefully you guys enjoy that.
Well, as always, thank you for joining us here. Remember, go vote. Thrilling32.com is the place to get the ballot, the only place to get the ballot at this point. So, as always, I am Andrew Barchak from Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm Pollmaster Danny Miller from Binghamton, New York.
Right on, right, Warriors.
Thanks, guys. Go vote.